Hi everyone, welcome to Water Tanks with StewiejP. I'm Stewie, you're not, and neither is this bloke. This is Rheinmetall, a new contributor to this channel, unless it's somebody who's changed their name, which I suspect it might be. This is a replay featuring the Skorpion G, the Tier 8 Premium German Tank Destroyer. This is going to be a double shot of Tier 8 Tank Destroyer action, featuring the Rheinmetall, the player. I hate it when people name themselves after a tank. It confuses me to no end. The Skorpion G at Tier 8. This is a Tier 10 battle on Overlord, and he's looking for a cheeky shot on that TVP T5051. He'll be very, very upset if he can put a shell in to the auto loading. What is it? Check? Is it check? Yeah, it is. Auto loading check Tier 10 tank. I'm a bad boy. There you go. That's a pretty groovy name. The M449, one of my favourite premium heavy tanks, goes down on the other side of the map. Now, of course, the Skorpion G has got armour piercing rounds as standard, and his 128mm gun, 490 damage, 246 penetration, 311 penetration for APCR rounds. And I reckon that's the same gun or a very similar gun that's on the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, or maybe even the Waffenträger Aufpanzer 4 at Tier 9. It might even be the similar gun to the old Waffenträger Auf E100 that used to be at Tier 10 with the autoloader. Anyway, they're down by a tank. It's only a Tier 8 heavy that's gone down, and Rheinmetall's going to look at trying to snipe the shit out of some of these enemy tanks. That STA2 should not be too hard to penetrate, and it's not. He takes him down to 57 hit points. He's kicking back on the red line, which is what Skorpions are quite good at doing, especially on this map. This isn't a bad spot. There's that TVP again. He just misses a shot into the rear of the auto-loading check medium tank at Tier 10. That would have been a pretty handy shot to land, taking him down to 1300 odd if it had have landed. 475 damage so far. That's just to the STA. Oh, he might get a shot there. Doesn't need to. The T54 lightweight picks up the kill. And that's the first kill for Rheinmetall's side. They're down by 2 tanks. Now they're just down by 1 as the logo's down on the beach. Look at the beach. A few enemy tanks there. An E75, a T10 and a Pershing. All going to the beach road. But Rheinmetall showing good map awareness. You can see there's two. Well, there's a medium and a light tank. There was. Over to the east. And they're taking on an Object 140 and a Batchat. And looks like they weren't winning, but might as well get rid of them, and that's something that he's identified. The T57 Heavy goes down in the centre, and for the first time, Rheinmetall's side up by a tank 5-4. Now, it's easy to say, look, he's red line sniping here, but he's in a Tier 8 tank destroyer with no armour whatsoever. So often you see these Skorpion Gs right at the front of the battle, and you think, yeah, they'll probably get a couple of shots off, but they're not going to bounce any damage, so what are you doing right at the front? 6 all the score now. The STA2 and the Batchat 12T get killed, but the enemy T54E1 and Pershing, they're the ones that were pushing the east. They get taken out by the Object 140 and the M53, M55 Tier 9 American artillery. It looks like a pretty tasty shot. Is he going to take the shot? He should do. Right into the side of the T34, the premium heavy American tank. 7 all is the score as the friendly T34 gets killed. There's I'm a bad boy again in his TVP. Hopefully this lands. It does for 479 hit points of damage into the Tier 10. Of course, it is a Tier 10 game, but the Tier 10s on the enemy side don't have a massive amount of armour, and they should. That was a pretty juicy shot into the T34. The enemy high tier tanks don't have a massive amount of armour, apart from that E75 who's down on the beach, who's obviously not a target for Rheinmetall in his Skorpion G, who's already on nearly 3,000 hit points of damage. 9/8's the score. The Type 4 Heavy gets taken out by the enemy Conqueror gun carrier, the Tier 10 artillery piece. And he pings where he thinks it is. That's where the shot came from. In that general direction, the Object 140 calling for help, and Rheinmetall aiming the Object 140's way. You can see on the map that the low, the T34 and the TVP T5051 are a chance at attacking from that direction, and he's hoping that that low crests the hill. He's on full health, a Tier 8 German premium heavy tank, And that one should go through. It does for 451 hit points. Looks like the low got a shot into the Object 140 though. He's still behind that rise, and the enemy artillery, the M53, M55, picks up the kill on the Object 140. The M103 kills the E75, and it's an even ball game again at 10 apiece on Overlord, not Overland. Now at the moment, looking at the minimap, even though he's on the red line, he's probably the closest tank, apart from this T-34 who's coming up, probably the closest tank to that enemy low. What's going to have a better view range, the low or the Skorpion G? They're both at tier 8. The Skorpion G, you can see, he's got binoculars activated, so maybe he will see the low before the low sees him, but I'm pretty sure that low is on a reasonable amount of health. We know that Rheinmetall put a shot into the back of the back of the German heavy tank. Not sure what happened there. It indicates to me that he might not have sixth sense, unless the TVP took a calculated guess. You know, if there's a Skorpion G on Overland on the North Spawn, there's a good chance he's going to be sitting up here at A4, A5, which is where Rheinmetall was. So maybe the TVP just took a lucky shot and set him on fire, or maybe Rheinmetall doesn't have sixth sense. I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't imagine the low would outvision it, especially with binoculars, but maybe the low's got binoculars. Well, maybe the low's got a really good crew. Who knows? 10 all's the score. There's an M103 left on Rheinmetall's side, and the M53, M55, both at tier 9. You can see the M103 is right down, getting nice and aggressive towards his T-34. Rheinmetall picks up the revenge kill on the TVP T5051. That's the same bloke who set him on fire, so that'll feel pretty good. Brings his damage count up to 3,808 hit points. That low hasn't been spotted for some time. The T-34 on 1,137 hit points is going searching for that low, and there he is. The low's just been spotted. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't have. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't have sixth sense. We'll probably find out soon if he gets into a close engagement. But maybe the Czech auto-loading tier 10 medium tank, the TVP, would certainly have a better view range than Rheinmetall and his Skorpion G. Trying to move into a position where he can support the M103. Unfortunately, the T-34. Sorry, to try and get the low, but no, he's changed his mind. He's going to try and help the T-34, or maybe he's trying to get up here for a bit of elevation for get a better angle on the low and the T-34 as well. The friendly T-34 copying it a bit. Looks like he's been hit by at least one artillery. He's certainly stunned, and that's a very nice position. Puts a shot into the lobe. Only critical hits him though. It doesn't damage him. It looks like he's not quite aimed towards the Skorpion G, which tells me he's probably not lit. Now that was a shot. That looked like it was probably going to go into his side. Looking at where the low was last angled, but the M53, M55 kills that T-32 who was going for the south. Rheinmetall puts another blind shot towards where the low was last seen. No idea if that one went through. He's on 3808 damage. At least one of those two blind shots would have done damage. He gives the T-32 a bit of a spray, and looks like he's going to try and back up this T-34. Low was last spotted up here in the north. The T-34, the enemy T-34, last spotted down in the south. Of course, there's two artilleries in play. Either one of those artilleries could one-shot Rheinmetall if they landed it on him. T-34 does the job on the enemy T-34, evening the score up again at 12 apiece. You know artillery's about to land on that T-34 though, so I wouldn't be getting too close to him. Rheinmetall moves forward. He's on 497 hit points. I reckon that's a one-shot for the Conqueror, and probably the M53, M55, even with the reduced amount of damage from artilleries over the last couple of months. Now, good map awareness here by Rheinmetall. He knows the low was last spotted up here. We've got no idea which direction he went in, but it's not the quickest tank in the game, so he's going down here to try and clean up artillery. The M53, M55, what would he be on? 400 or 500 hit points. The Conqueror maybe a little bit more, so it might take more than one shot each to get rid of the enemy artilleries. His sixth sense still hasn't gone off. Maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe it wasn't a lucky shot earlier on when the TVP set him on fire. Finds the M53, M55, 450 health. That should be enough for a one-shot. It is. He gets rid of one of them. That, maybe it's my imagination, but it looks like that Tier 9 American artillery piece was starting to take aim at the T-34, or maybe even trying to counter. I certainly hope this M53, M55 here at D1 isn't trying to drown himself. That'd be terrible. They're up by a tank. Rheinmetall going searching for the Conqueror gun carrier, going down in the corner. Maybe he's down here. The T-34 is coming up. T-34's just spotted that low. Does he have a shot? I don't think he does. I think he's behind a rise. Looks like the low just put a shot into the T-34. Rheinmetall coming back to try and get a flanking shot into the heavy German Tier 8 premium tank. It's going to take him a while to get there though. He seems to be taking the scenic route to get there. He's probably trying to get up around this central part of the map just to try and one nice juicy shot into the rear of the low will be enough. Not really sure where he's going. Maybe he thinks the Conqueror is up here. It's certainly feasible. It's certainly feasible. The Conqueror could have made his way up here because they comprehensively won the Eastern fight when that was all going on. No, it looks like he's coming back for the low. The T-34 is right down here on the beach now. So if the Conqueror is anywhere along this K line, he'll have beautiful shots into the American Tier 8 premium heavy tank. Rheinmetall moving forward, trying to find that low. He can afford to take a shot from the low. There's the Conqueror. The T-34's found him and put a shot into the Tier 10 British artillery piece. But of course that T-34's got a very long reload, about over 10 seconds for sure. Rheinmetall looking for vision on that low. He can't spot the German heavy tank. Guarantee the German's heading down to where that T-34 is. The T-34 gets pot-shotted by the Conqueror GC. Moves forward. There's the low. He needs to get some damage into it. He does. Pulls back. He does have 6 cents. So that shot earlier from the TVP was certainly a lucky shot. So he moves back. Picks up a bit of spotting damage, so the M53, M55 must have dropped a turd not too far from the low, and you'd imagine the low might be... What's the low going to do? He's going to come after Rheinmetall in his Skorpion G, or he's going to take notice of where that artillery shot came from. Of course, it tells you when you get hit by artillery what direction it came from, and he knows Rheinmetall's up here. And because Rheinmetall picked up 60 odd spotting damage, that low should be able to work out that the shot came from out here somewhere. So the low could be going after artillery before he's going to try and take out Rheinmetall in the Skorpion G. Who knows? He could be doing anything. Yes, he is going for artillery, which is a pretty smart move. Now, what's Rheinmetall going to do? If it was me, I'd be going straight for where the Conqueror is. Get rid of him, sneak up behind the low and pop him. The low's only on 111 health. Rheinmetall is on 497, which is 2 shots for the low. So if you can get rid of the Conqueror first, he's got a good chance of carrying this gate. Auto aims on the low. Looks like the low is aiming for the M53. And I reckon Rheinmetall just saved that M53, M55's life there. And he's not stuffing around. He's going straight for where the Conqueror gun carrier was last seen, which is just south of where he is. Blows up a few boxes on the way. Always shit myself when that happens. I always think like maybe it's a bomb going off or an artillery. Zooming out, looking at where... Oh, the Conqueror's on his side. Bad luck, Conqueror. Bad luck, Conqueror. No idea that happened. It would have been handy to know if the one of the enemy players had have maybe mentioned it. It would have been a pretty... One of the friendly players, I should say. That would have been a very handy thing to know. It's an Ace-Taker Mastery Badge on Overlord for Rheinmetall in this Rheinmetall Skorpion G. Bruiser, Fighter, Fire for Effect, the Pascucci's Medal for killing both artilleries in one game, high caliber, and of course the sniper, because he did a fair bit of sniping damage at the start. Top the score charts though, on 1,476 base experience, 5,495 hit points of damage, 4 kills, which is more than anybody else. Nearly double what this T-34 did. Look, he called this bloke a noob, but he actually, the noob got third highest score. Plenty of credits there, nearly 75,000 credits after tax, even though he was firing some APCR rounds. Towards the end, 16 shots fired, 14 hit, 13 went through, and that was enough for an ace tanker. On Overlord, as we move on to the second battle in this double shot of Tier 8. Tier 8 tank destroyers. This one features my old mate Von the Burglar. Von the Burglar from 1AR, one of the nicest blokes you could ever hope to meet in a game. He loves his UDES, his UDES 03. You can have a look at it. It's got that press X to switch to seed mode thing on the screen, which I find a bit annoying because I've done the full grind through the UDES, and normally it just shows you that when you first buy a tank, but maybe it's something to do with the replays. Anyway, Von the Burglar from 1AR, he loves his tank destroyers, and he's got the 105mm gun on the UDES. APCR rounds, 390 damage, 330 penetration. That's premium APCR. Standard APCR is 288 penetration. Now, of course, the Swedish tank destroyers, it's two different kinds of APCR, which is a little bit unusual in World of Tanks. Sometimes it's, you know, it might be armor piercing for standard and APCR for premium ammunition. But just saw a tank. Where'd it go? He's kicking back in this bush here, looking for a little bit of a snipey snipe. Puts a shot into the T3485M. Every replay I seem to do seems to have 1,000 of the bastards. But on the Burglar now, looking at the Panther M10. It'll be a nice one to get rid of. This is a Tier 8 game, but it's not an all Tier 8 game. There's lots of Tier 6s and 7s in this battle, and that's the new matchmaker, I guess. T3485M cops a big shot, takes him down to half health. And he's looking at the minimap, he's looking at all those tanks, he's going, yo, I'm top tier, I'm a top tier, Tier 8 tank destroyer. There's only 3 Tier 8s on each side. A few Tier 7s, a lot of Tier 6s. This is just going to be farm damage all the way. And get the replay to Stewie, that's the main thing. 427 hit points into the Panther M10. I don't think his 6 sets went off then, but maybe he's still lit from before. But it looks like the Panther's aiming at someone else. So puts a blind shot in. That most certainly would have went in, even though he's no longer spotted. 0 walls to score. He's already on 1,163 hit points of damage. He has been spotted once, but he hasn't taken any damage himself. The underside of the Oni looks very tasty for another 398 hit points of damage. Gets lit again. Bounces a shot from the T3485M. He'll bounce that all day long if you let him. But still, you might as well kill him. So he aims in his direction, but clearly that Tier 6 is paying attention. He said, I don't want to get shot by that UDES, especially with Von the Burglar behind the wheel. 2 zips to score. He's on 2,000 damage, not counting, of course, that blind shot towards the Panther. And that'll be a nice juicy target into the T29 for another 380 hit points. Takes him down to 738. We're on Live Oaks. It's a standard battle. Von the Burglar and his UDES is already on over 2,500 damage, I'd say. And he's a little bit spoilt for choice here. Super Pershing moves just as you fire, which is exactly what happens to me nearly every day. That looks like that was a pretty tempting target. Looks like he's going for the side. He wants to try and track him. He sets him on fire, gets a little bit of extra damage, but looks like he's got an automatic fire extinguisher, which is that's okay. You can do that if you want to. Von the Burglar looking again towards the Super Pershing. He's gone unspotted. Lots of tanks down there. It's all happening down. Quick look at the mini-map. Have a look at this. It looks like the enemy set nothing to the north, and these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 tanks have just stormed the north, and they're accosting the campers now. The VK30-01P kicking back, looking for some snipey shots, and those lights lighting up whatever's camping at the base. 2-1 the score. Von the Burglar on about 3,000 damage. 3-2 the score, I should say. Looks towards the T29. T29 doesn't present itself. T3485M on the enemy side and the T43 on Von's side both get taken out, but they're still up by a tank. 4-3. Plenty of targets to shoot at. Lots of tanks in this central area. I'm not really sure what this VK3601H is doing in the swamp. I don't think he'll be having shots on anyone. Another nice side shot into the T26E4. He tracks him. Hopes somebody else puts some damage in to give him some assistance, but it doesn't look like they're going to. So Von the Burglar says, no worries, I'll do this. Puts another shot into the side of the premium Tier 8 American medium tank. 5-4's the score. Takes his damage up not far off 4,000. And a blind shot picks up the kill and brings the lead to 2 tanks. 6-4. Looking around now towards the Oni. Also the, oh look at that, that's going to be easy money all day. The poor old Cromwell cops a shot from Von UDES and then gets taken out by the T44. T44 doing the right thing. 7-6 the score. Other tanks dying. Steyr Waffenträger, I'm not sure where he was, but he got taken out. That's the premium Tier 7. Of course, a Swedish gun. Not as accurate as they are in making furniture, because I don't know where that shot went. It looked like it was pretty well aimed to me. 8-6, they're still up by 2 tanks. Von's on 677 hit points out of his original 1,000. He's on a mission. He's on a mission to do 6,000 damage. Let's see if he can do this. And that's the final. That's the final mission for one of the rewards. I was pretty excited the other day. I did my final SPG mission for the Object 260, and I was high-fiving all the way. It was like New Year's Eve. It was party like it's 1999. It was unbelievable. And so I've subsequently gotten rid of the arties that I no longer need. I only keep them for the missions. 9-6 is the score. He's looking for some more cheeky shots. He's on nearly 4,000 damage. He's on a mission to do 6. He's top tier in the UDES 03. I've got a feeling he's not going to be able to do 6. A lot of those tanks are on pretty low health. T44 goes down to the Oni with the big derp gun. What is there? There's a heavy tank number 6, the premium Japanese Tier 6 heavy. Another T34 85M on 144 health. The Oni's got about 500 hit points up his sleeve. T29 still there, probably a one-shot for Von the Burglar. But no, the T29 and the Oni both go down to a couple of T34s. So Von switches out of siege mode into travel mode and starts moving forward to try and keep that gun working. Of course, that's the what would you call it? Like a boutique feature, I guess, of the Swedish tank destroyers from about Tier 8 and upwards. That's what the X means in the middle of the screen. When you're in travel mode, you can drive around quite freely, and it's not the slowest tank in the world. It's pretty quick for a tank destroyer. But when you're in travel mode and you're driving around nice and quickly, your accuracy is absolutely terrible. It's got the accuracy of an artillery, almost. Von makes a lie out of me. That looks pretty accurate to me. But when you're in siege mode, your speed is greatly compromised. You start to see how slow he's moving now compared to how he was before. But that circle is as tight as anything. You'd just be, it'd be the most accurate thing in the world. And I was lucky enough to drive a press account late last year, and I had the Stridsvagn 103, the Tier 10, and that thing was pinpoint accuracy when it was in siege mode. It was unbelievable. And 14-10, one last tank to go. Can he do it? Just misses the top of the SU-12244. Of course, he'll be as nervous as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, all on his own against 5 people. Von misses again, which is always the way towards the end when you're trying to get a little bit more damage. He's on full health, this SU-12244, and Von's got pretty good shots here. He finally gets him for 430, takes his damage up to 5,230, plus a blind shot, don't forget, so maybe he will get his mission. There was at least 2 blind shots that I reckon went through. Let's see how he goes at the end. He's on a mission to do 6,000 damage to enemy vehicles. That's all he needs to do. Finally, he picks up the kill. Secondary condition is to kill 3. That was his 4th kill, so he's certainly got the secondary condition. Let's have a look at the post-game battle results to see how Von the Burglar went in the UDES 03, the Tier 8 Swedish tank destroyer. It's another ace tanker mastery badge for Von the Burglar from 1AR. The Bruiser Fighter and Fire for Effect medal, Confederate for hitting more enemy tanks than anybody else, the High Caliber, which was an absolute ripper. And I reckon that's enough for his mission. Well done, Von, for picking up the final mission. I'm not sure which mission set it is. 6,000 damage. I think it's probably the second or the third one. 6,006 hit points of damage. 4 kills, 1378 base experience. He fired 24 shots, 18 hits, 17 went through, including a couple of blind shots. The kill shot on the Super Pershing. I reckon there was a blind shot on that M10 Panther. And the final kill shot on that SU12244. That's a premium. That's a premium tier 7. Anyway, have a look at that one. 27 shots fired. 18 hit, 17 went through, 6,000 damage. A lot of it sniped, 4,725 from more than 300 metres, but that's what the UDES does. And he had an absolute ripper in that 9-minute game. He made 61,000 credits with a premium account, but that's because he was using real gold to pay for his ammunition, which is probably a valid strategy for grinding credits. I must ask him next time I'm talking to him. The double shot of tier 8 tank destroyer action featuring Repeatable in the Skorpion G, one of those annoying players who names himself after a tank, which confuses me to no end. And of course, find the Burglar from 1AR in the UDES 03. Two very different and two pretty cool replays, if I do say so myself. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks very much for the replays, lads. Take care, and see you all next time.